Let's get real for a second. There's something every man needs to understand, and it's not wrapped up in mystery or some confusing riddle you have to solve. It's actually simple, but it requires presence, because what women really want, more than anything else, is you, your time, your attention, your presence, not just your wallet, not just gifts or fancy trips or things you think will impress her. She wants to feel like she matters when she's with you, and presence is the currency that buys real connection. Here's the problem most men don't even realize they're creating. They confuse being physically near someone with being emotionally present. They're in the same room, sure, sitting next to each other on the couch, maybe even sharing dinner, but their mind completely elsewhere, thinking about work, scrolling through their phone, zoning out. That kind of presence is empty, and women can feel that disconnection immediately. Look her in the eyes, ask questions, and care about the answers. That's what presence looks like. That's what makes a woman feel safe, valued, seen. You could give her a diamond necklace, and it won't hold a candle to you simply being all in during a conversation. The truth is, women are intuitive. They pick up on energy. If you're distracted, if you're emotionally unavailable, if you're going through the motions, they know. And when that happens repeatedly, she doesn't feel loved. She doesn't feel chosen. She starts to pull away emotionally because the one thing she craves, emotional closeness, is missing. Presence doesn't mean you have to drop everything for her 24/7. That's not realistic, and she doesn't want that either. What she wants is quality, not quantity. 10 minutes of full presence is more powerful than an entire day of half-hearted attention. Put your phone down, turn the game off, close the laptop, look her in the eye and be curious. Ask her how her day really was, and don't just nod while she talks. Engage, ask follow-ups. Show her that her words matter to you, because here's the deal. Presence is about priority. When you are truly present, you're telling her she matters. She's worth your time. She's important enough to pause everything else and tune in. And that kind of presence creates emotional security. It creates connection. And ultimately, it builds the kind of love that lasts. Now, let me be blunt. This doesn't mean you have to change who you are. It doesn't mean you have to perform. It just means you have to care enough to show up. That's it. You don't need a PhD in relationships. You don't need to be poetic or perfect. You just need to be real. Be engaged. Be someone who listens more than he talks and who asks more than he assumes. Think about it. When was the last time you gave her your full attention without multitasking? When was the last time you checked in not because something was wrong, but because you just wanted to know how she was doing? These small moments, they matter. They are the bricks that build trust, intimacy, and love. Presence is also about emotional availability. That means being open, not shutting down when things get hard. It means showing up when she's struggling, even if you don't have the answers. Sometimes just sitting next to her, holding her hand and saying, "I'm here." That's enough. That's what makes her feel safe. You want to know what women want? You want to know what women? It's this, presence. Not the highlight reel version of you, not the guy who brings flowers but never really hears her. She wants the guy who shows up, not just physically, but emotionally. She wants the guy who listens with his whole heart, even when the conversation is uncomfortable or inconvenient. Because when you're truly present, you're not just hearing her, you're seeing her, you're telling her, "I see you, I value you. I choose you." And that, more than anything else, is what women want. Not just once, not just on anniversaries, but every single day in small, powerful ways. Presence isn't a skill, it's a decision, a choice to show up with intention, and when you do, everything changes. She'll feel it. You'll feel it. And the connection that builds between you, that's the kind of relationship that doesn't just survive, it thrives. Let's talk about something that doesn't get said enough: emotional safety. You hear people talk about love, attraction, chemistry, but none of those things can survive without one key ingredient: safety. And I'm not talking about physical safety, though of course that matters. I'm talking about emotional safety. Because emotional safety is the real foundation of any relationship that lasts. And what every woman truly wants is to feel safe to be her full, unfiltered self with you. Emotional safety is the ability to show up in a relationship without fear of being judged, dismissed, or invalidated. It's knowing that when she opens her heart, she's not going to be laughed at, mocked, or told she's too emotional. It's knowing that if she's vulnerable, if she breaks down, if she's overwhelmed or unsure or just human, you won't use that moment to pull away, criticize, or shut down. Instead, you'll lean in. A lot of men think that what women want is a hero, someone who swoops in and fixes everything. But that's not it. That's not the thing that builds real intimacy. What she wants is a partner, someone who doesn't flinch when things get deep or messy. She wants to know she can express what's really on her mind without walking on eggshells. She wants to feel like her emotions are safe in your hands, and that means you've got to be emotionally available. That doesn't mean you have to have all the answers or be some perfectly in touch with your feelings kind of guy. It just means you're willing to hold space for her. You don't rush to fix it. You don't get defensive. You listen. You sit with her in whatever she's feeling and let her have that space. Do you know what that tells her? It tells her she's not too much, that she doesn't need to shrink to be loved, that you can handle her heart. That, my friend, is emotional safety, and that is deeply attractive. It's what creates trust. It's what builds intimacy that actually lasts. Not chemistry, not surface-level charm, but that quiet, steady sense that I can be me with this person, all of me. And here's where most men unintentionally miss the mark. They confuse emotional safety with being agreeable. They think, if I just avoid conflict, if I don't rock the boat, everything will be fine. No, emotional safety is not about pretending everything is okay. It's about creating an environment where it's okay, not to be okay, where hard conversations aren't avoided but embraced, where both people can bring their truth to the table, even if it's uncomfortable. Women aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for honesty, for someone who's willing to sit in the messy middle with them, not just show up when things are easy. If you can't handle her at her most vulnerable, she'll never feel safe enough to fully open up. And when that emotional door closes, so does the depth of the relationship. Emotional safety also means being responsible with your words. It means understanding that tone, timing, and empathy matter. It means realizing that tough love is only effective when trust is already established. Otherwise, it just feels like criticism. You can be honest and direct without being harsh. You can challenge her without tearing her down. That balance, that's what makes a man emotionally intelligent, and women can feel that instantly. And let me say this clearly, emotional safety is not weakness. It is strength. It takes strength to be present in another person's emotional world without making it about you. It takes strength to listen instead of reacting. You're showing up because you wanna, not because you feel obligated. And that difference? She feels it deep in her bones. Here's the part most people miss. Consistency isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about staying grounded during conflict. It's easy to be loving when everything's good. But what do you do when you disagree? When she's upset? When life gets stressful? That's when your consistency is tested. And that's when she's watching. If you can be kind when it's hard, if you can stay connected even when you're frustrated, that's the kind of behavior that builds unshakable trust. So if you're wondering why a relationship isn't growing, or why a woman you care about seems distant, ask yourself, have I been consistent? Have I shown up in the small, quiet ways? Have I proven, not just once, but over and over, that I'm reliable? Because grand gestures might win her attention, but consistency wins her heart. At the end of the day, every woman is asking herself the same question. Can I count on you? If the answer is yes, not just once, not just sometimes, but always, you're already giving her more than any gift could offer. You're giving her something rare, something real. You're giving her security. And that's everything. Confidence without ego is one of the most magnetic traits a man can have. It's the difference between someone who walks into a room needing attention and someone who walks in already knowing who he is. No performance, no front, no need to prove anything. That's the kind of energy women are drawn to because it's rooted in strength, not insecurity. It's quiet, it's calm, it's grounded, and most importantly, it's real. Here's where a lot of men get it wrong. They think confidence means dominance. They think it's about talking the loudest, flexing the hardest, or being the alpha in every situation. That's not confidence. That's ego trying to overcompensate for self-doubt. Women can spot that from a mile away. The bravado, the bragging, the constant need for validation. It's exhausting, and honestly, it's not attractive. Because deep down, we all know, if you really believed in yourself, you wouldn't have to try so hard to prove it. Real confidence comes from self-acceptance, from knowing your worth without needing to compare yourself to others. It's being okay with your flaws, your mistakes, your story. It's being comfortable enough in your own skin to say, this is who I am, and I like that guy. That kind of self-assurance, that's gold. It's rare, and it's incredibly attractive because it creates a space where other people, especially women, can relax. They don't feel like they have to perform around you. They can just be. A man with true confidence doesn't compete. He collaborates, he listens, he learns, he lifts others up instead of tearing them down. He doesn't walk into a room needing to be the best. He walks in wanting to connect, contribute, and grow. He's humble enough to admit when he's wrong, and strong enough to stand firm in his values when it counts. That balance of humility and strength, that's what draws people in. Women want a man who is confident enough to lead when needed, but secure enough to follow when it's not about him. They want someone who can speak his mind without silencing hers, someone who can be vulnerable without losing his edge. Because vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. And it takes confidence to show up without a mask. Ego is loud. Confidence is quiet. Ego needs to win. Confidence doesn't need to compete. Ego makes everything about you. Confidence makes space for us. And women can feel that difference instantly. They're not looking for a man who tries to dominate the room. They're looking for one who owns his space without taking up everyone else's. That self-possession, that calm, centered energy, that's what makes them feel safe, seen, and respected. Confidence also means being emotionally intelligent, knowing how to manage your emotions. Too many relationships fall apart not because of love, but because of misalignment. One person wants kids, the other doesn't. One wants to travel, the other wants to settle down. One values ambition, the other values simplicity. These things matter. Love can't override incompatibility in the long run. That's why it's so important to have those real conversations early on. Not just about what you want now, but what you want next. What kind of life are you building? What are your non-negotiables? What does success look like to you? When you share your vision, it builds clarity, it creates a sense of direction, and it gives both of you something bigger than yourselves to work toward. It becomes a compass for the relationship, so when challenges come up, and they will, you're not just reacting to the moment. You're asking, how do we move through this in a way that keeps us aligned with where we want to go? A man with vision doesn't just react to life, he designs it. He knows what kind of relationship he wants, what kind of father he wants to be, what kind of impact he wants to make. And he invites his partner into that vision. That's what makes her feel seen, valued, and included. That's what turns a casual connection into a committed partnership. And let's not forget, this goes both ways. A real partnership is built when both people bring their vision to the table. You're not just asking her to follow your plan, you're co-creating a future that reflects both of your dreams. That mutual respect, that shared effort, that's what makes the foundation unshakable. So if you're serious about building something real, don't just focus on chemistry. Focus on compatibility. Focus on shared purpose. Ask the deeper questions, have the uncomfortable conversations, align your actions with your words, and don't be afraid to lead. Not with control, but with clarity and conviction. Because at the end of the day, a woman doesn't want to just be along for the ride. She wants to be part of a journey. She wants to know that the man she's with isn't just surviving life. He's building something, and he sees her not just as company, but as his co-architect. That's powerful. That's rare. And that's exactly what turns a relationship into a legacy. Respect is the foundation. Without it, nothing else in a relationship holds. You can have chemistry, deep conversations, a strong connection. But if there isn't mutual respect, the relationship will slowly fall apart. And the key word here is mutual. It's not about one person demanding to be honored while ignoring the needs of the other. It's about both people showing up in a way that says, I see you, I value you. I will treat you with care even when it's hard. Respect shows up in the little things, the way you speak to her, especially when you're frustrated. The way you listen when she talks without brushing off her feelings. The way you honor her boundaries even when they're inconvenient for you. These moments may seem small, but they're where trust is either built or broken. Respect is not about avoiding conflict, it's about how you handle conflict. Do you lash out or do you lean in? Do you try to win or do you try to understand? A woman who feels respected doesn't have to second guess her worth. She doesn't have to shrink herself to keep the peace. She knows she can express herself without being shut down or shamed. And that safety, that's everything. Because when a woman feels respected, she relaxes, she softens. She lets her guard down. That's when the real connection happens. Not when you impress her, but when you make her feel safe being fully herself. Respect also means you honor her time, her energy, her presence. You show up when you say you will. You follow through on your promises. You don't make her chase consistency. You don't play games. You treat her as an equal, not as a prize you've won or a project to fix. You don't use her past against her. You don't weaponize her vulnerability. And you absolutely do not disappear when things get uncomfortable. And here's the truth that too many people avoid. Respect isn't just about how you treat her. It's also about who you are when she's not around. Are you the same man behind closed doors as you are in public? Do your actions line up with your words? Are you living with integrity? Because a woman can sense when something's off. She can feel when your words are polished, but your character is hollow. Respect is consistency. It's authenticity. It's alignment between who you say you are and how you actually show up. When a woman sees that you respect her as a human being, not just for how she looks or how she makes you feel, but for who she is, that's when she leans in. That's when she trusts you. That's when she starts to imagine a future with you. Not because of your charm or your confidence or your accomplishments, but because of how she feels in your presence, safe, supported, seen. Respect also means giving her the space to grow. It means supporting her goals, not just your own. It means encouraging her independence, not being threatened by it. A man who truly respects a woman isn't trying to control her. He's rooting for her. He's cheering her on. He's proud of her success and confident enough in himself not to be intimidated by it. That kind of support builds a partnership, not a power struggle. It's also about emotional respect, not mocking her emotions, not telling her she's too sensitive or overreacting. Respect means listening even when you don't fully understand. It means staying calm when she's upset, not escalating the situation with ego. It means taking responsibility for your part, not deflecting, not gaslighting, not making her feel crazy for caring. Emotional respect is what allows real intimacy to form. It says your feelings matter. You matter. And finally, respect is shown through self-respect, because how you treat yourself is a mirror of how you'll treat others. If you don't take care of your own mental and emotional well-being, if you constantly abandon yourself in the name of pride or avoidance, it will show. But when you live with discipline, honesty, and kindness toward yourself, you naturally extend that same grace outward. At the end of the day, every healthy, loving relationship is rooted in respect. It's not flashy, it's not dramatic, it's steady, it's patient, it's kind, and it's not optional. It's essential, because love without respect is just possession. Attention without respect is just manipulation. And desire without respect is just ego. But when you lead with respect, you build something real, something lasting, something worth fighting for.